Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing a different video. We're going to be doing my MLB Offseason Grades. So if you haven't checked out my last video, I recommend checking that out. I basically talked how I was going to do a baseball grading video of all the offseason teams. So basically I'm doing a slideshow on it because I think slideshows are a lot nicer than my writing, and I think it's better quality. So if you do like this video, hit that like button down below. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree with my gradings? We're going to get started. This is probably going to be a longer video because I have to go through 30 teams and each of their major moves and what I think they did. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a longer video. Let's get started here. MLB Offseason Grades. We're going to start out with the National League, the NL East. Then we're going to go to NL Central and then the NL West. So we're going to start out with the Braves here. Start out with the Atlanta Braves. So the Atlanta Braves additions this offseason include Marcell Ozuna, Charlie Morton, Drew Smyly, Jason Kipnis, A-Ray Adrianza, and Pablo Sandoval. So these are I would say some pretty big guys. Marcell Ozuna probably being the biggest because they re-signed him, and knowing that he's probably the best DH out there, he's a pretty good baseball player. They also added Charlie Morton and Drew Smyly, two very good pitchers. I think the Braves are going to really benefit from, add to that pitching rotation, and kind of some more veterans. And then, Jason Kipnis, A-Ray Adrianza, Pablo Sandoval, those are all kind of like backup, just like minor league guys who are just going to kind of be their backups. I don't think they had a bad offseason. I don't think as good as they had like some of their past off seasons, but I will give them an overall grade of a B-. I don't think it's a bad offseason. Re-signed Marcell Ozuna, got Charlie Morton. It's definitely above average. I just don't think they really did a whole lot this offseason. Now we're going to go to the Marlins. The Miami Marlins are up next. Basically we have the Marlins going up, and this offseason, I looked at the transactions. They made a lot less than I thought they did, so I gave them a C+ for it. They added Dylan Floro, they added Anthony Bass, Ross Detweiler, Adam Simber, and that's why I gave them a C+. They're kind of like a team that's like, they're an okay team. They're definitely not a bad team. And when I looked at their roster, they really added bullpen arms. Dylan Floro, Anthony Bass, Ross Detweiler, and Adam Simber, those were all bullpen arms to kind of fill in because they did lose a few guys. They lost a few guys, and I think these are some important guys to get back in your bullpen. I think it makes it stronger, but I don't think it's what it is to make their team better. Miami Marlins, I'm going to give them a C+. They could have done better. I think they could have done better. It wasn't a bad offseason. I think they still got... I would say they got better, but it was very minor, so it's only a C+ for them. Next up, we have the New York Mets, one of the best offseasons in baseball. I don't think I need to explain. Francisco Lindor, Carlos Carrasco, Joey Lucchesi, James McCann, Trevor May, Aaron Loup, Jose Martinez, Albert Almora, Jonathan Villar, Kevin Pillar. There has been so many moves this offseason from the New York Mets. It's been pretty insane. I thought this was a really good offseason for the Mets. And, the Mets were a pretty good team this offseason going up. So I give them an A. I give the overall grade for them an A. This is a really good offseason. Lindor, best shortstop in baseball. Add into that lineup. You get James McCann, a really good catcher. You get him to be your catcher back there instead of Wilson Ramos. You get Carlos Carrasco, Joey Lucchesi to be in that pitching rotation. You get Trevor May and Aaron Loup to be in your bullpen. And then you get, Pillar to be kind of your center fielder. VR, Almora, Martinez, those are all backup guys. This was a really good offseason by the New York Mets. Overall grade for them was an A. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies made a few good moves. They brought back JT Realmuto, brought back Didi Gregorius, Brandon Kinsler, Chase Anderson, Archie Bradley, and Matt Joyce. Those were the major moves for them, and I think, getting back Realmuto and Gregorius is going to be good pickups for them. I think those are going to be some larger parts for them. I think that they're going to really help out that team. Archie Bradley, good bullpen arm that they added, as well as Brandon Kinsler. I think those are going to be two guys that they can bring in their bullpen who are going to provide innings. The problem with the Phillies is they need bullpen help. And they got a few bullpen arms. There are still a few guys out there, by the way, so this might be a little bit outdated if some guys like Trevor Rosenthal and Shane Green sign. But of right now, I would say the Phillies, I'm going to give them a B-. B- grade. They did a above average offseason, but I don't think it was an amazing offseason, but definitely above average. It wasn't a bad offseason. Now, after the Phillies, we're going to move on to the Nationals. Another very interesting offseason. They didn't make a lot of moves, but they definitely made a lot of good moves. That's the good thing about the Nationals, is they made lots of really good moves. And you added Brad Hand, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber, John Lester, Alex Avila. Like, those are some impactful moves. They didn't have a good bullpen to start off. Getting Brad Hand, who can be a dominant closer, is very good for them. You get Josh Bell to be your first baseman, Kyle Schwarber to be in the outfield. Like, that's a good lineup, and this is a good team. I think that this is a really good team. Overall grade at B+. I know some people are thought maybe the Phillies got a better grade, but I really think the Nationals had a sneaky good offseason. B+. That's a pretty good offseason in my opinion. Now moving on to the National League Central, I'm going to start with the Brewers. National League Central probably made the fewest moves in baseball and probably is the weakest division in baseball. They added Colton Wong, Derek Fisher, Brad Boxberger, and Jordan Zimmerman. Most of these are minor moves. Their big move was Colton Wong, going to improve that defense, but the Brewers, I feel like needed more offense. Wong, he's not an amazing offensive bat. Derek Fisher, he's not going to be an amazing offensive guy. He's definitely not bad offensively. But Boxberger and Zimmerman are just kind of some pitchers to, eat up innings. Definitely not going to be anybody to be like, oh yeah, that guy's scary. Off-season for them, it wasn't amazing. I mean, a C+, it's above average, but I don't think they had an impactful off-season. So C+ for the Brewers. Now moving on to the Cardinals, who probably arguably had the best offseason in baseball. They get Nolan Arenado, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright. Now, Nolan Arenado is obviously the biggest piece in this. The only reason why I think they had a good offseason is because of Nolan Arenado. Because Molina and Wainwright are just extra guys in the back of their system who are, they're good, decent guys, but they're veterans, they're old. You bring them back on just years just to help out the team. Nolan Arenado, he's the man. That's why this offseason, I'm giving them an A-. Really good offseason. I don't think it's as good as the Mets, just because the Mets made a bunch of Nolan Arenado moves almost, like Lindor and May and all that. But I still think it's good enough to give them an A-. They had a really good offseason. Nolan Arenado himself gives them an A-. If there was no Nolan Arenado, they didn't have a good offseason. Improves that team, defense and offense. Good move by the Cardinals. Next up, the Pirates. Brian Goodwin and Tony Walters. F. Don't need to say much here. They didn't nothing this offseason. They got rid of Bell, Musgrove, Tyone. They got worse. They're the Pirates. What else do I say? Pirates got an F. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds. This is going to be another kind of quick one. Doolittle, Gordon, Delmonico. You got a closer in Doolittle. Gordon might be your shortstop. D. Strange Gordon, I don't know. You got Doolittle, I guess, but you lost a few pieces. I don't know. It wasn't a great offseason. It was the most medium offseason, really. There's just no good. There wasn't anything good. I feel like the team just kind of stayed the same. So, C for the Reds. Next up, the Chicago Cubs. Weird offseason. They added Jock Peterson, Zach Davies, Trevor Williams, Jake Arrieta, and Brandon Workman. All guys who are good. I don't think any of them are awful. You get a few pitchers in Williams and Arrieta and Davies to fill in for Darvish and Lester. But they're not, I don't think they're, amazing guys compared to Darvish. Peterson, I guess an outfielder. Workman, this was just reports. C+. It was one of those off seasons. You lost Darvish. If you didn't lose Darvish, it was a better off season. But I didn't really like the Cubs off season. I don't know what they're doing. The Cubs are such a weird team. I don't know. C+. Meh off season. Next up, the D-backs. They got Joakim Soria. That's the only move they made, so I just gave him a D+. Because you made Joakim Soria, and you really didn't get better. D+. I didn't like their off season. You get one bullpen arm. D-backs, Dimebacks, man, you need maybe add some more moves next time. Maybe you'll get somebody else, but Joakim is not just going to be the move for your team. I know you're in the NL West, but next up, the Rockies. Originally, I was going to give them an F, but because they added Crone, and then I'll give them a D+. but, you know, they lost Arenado. This was not a good offseason for them. I might even change it just to be a D. It was not a good offseason, okay? Rockies, not a good offseason. Antonio Senzazella, Greg Bird, these aren't going to be big guys. You get Crone to be your first baseman. Not much to say here. D+. Not a good offseason for Rockies. A lot of bad offseasons right in a row. Giants, though, actually had a surprisingly good offseason. That's why I give them a B+. They added Gosman, DeSclafani, Alex Wood, Tommy La Stella, Matt Whistler, John Brebbia. That's a really good moves. You get Gosman and DeSclafani and Wood. Those are all decent pitchers that can provide innings. La Stella's a nice bat, and Whistler and Brebbia are nice bullpen arms. I know the Padres and the Dodgers are the teams in the NL West, but the Giants aren't a bad team. They really made a couple of really good moves. That's why I give the Giants a B+ overall grading. Good year by them. Good grade. Next up, the San Diego Padres. I bet you guys could probably guess what I'm going to give them. If you guys are big baseball fans, you probably know what I'm going to give the Padres. It's an A+. I mean, look at this. Look at these moves. Yu Darvish, you got from the Cubs. Ace pitcher. Blake Snell, ace pitcher. So you get two ace pitchers. You get Jurickson Profar back. Keone Kela, Mark Melancon. Those are some bullpen arms you get back. Ha-Sung Kim, you get him back from Japan. You get Joe Musgrove. I think I might even be forgetting somebody because I swear it feels like this is a lesson there should be. I probably am forgetting somebody. But, this was such a good offseason by the Padres. A+. Their rotation is nasty. Their lineup is nasty. This team is amazing. Padres, A+, great offseason. Next up, the Dodgers. Trevor Bauer, A+. If you get Trevor Bauer, you're an A+. At least for Dodgers, because they're the best team in baseball. Well, statistically on paper they are. A+. That's what they get. On paper, Dodgers are the best team in baseball. You get Bauer, you get Kamley, you get Knebel, you re-sign Turner, you get Noose. This is such a good team. Such a good team. A+. What can I say? Dodgers are just insane. Bauer, Kershaw, that is just insane. Bauer, Kershaw, Buehler, May, Gonsolin, Price. Oh, man. Such a stacked rotation. Such a stacked lineup. The Dodgers are filthy. A+. One of the best offenses in lineup and one of the best offseasons in baseball. Next up, the American League. So we just did the National League. Now we're going to the American League. We're starting off with the Orioles. Freddie Galvis, Felix Hernandez, Matt Harvey, and Wade LeBlanc. These are all, old, guys who are, whatever, not that great. That's why I give them a C. The Orioles are in a position to do good. Galvis, actually, I will say Freddie Galvis seems to be an Oriole type of guy or an Oriole type of move. So you get him to fill in for Iglesias, or, fill in for Iglesias, who was your shortstop before. Right, it was Iglesias, right? I'm not losing my mind. I think it was Iglesias. Freddie Galvis, though, very, average overall shortstop. Felix Hernandez, Matt Harvey, old guys to help out the team, I guess. I don't know. C for the Orioles, not too much here. Next up, the Tampa Bay Rays. Michael Wacha and Chris Archer, they're not bad pitchers. They are not bad pitchers, but they're not guys that are going to give you amazing innings. Michael Wacha, Chris Archer, you lose Snell and Morton, so I think the Rays overall didn't have a great offseason. You get Mike Zunino back, you add Hunter Strickland. The Rays were one of those teams that you thought were going to make more moves, and yeah, they don't have a lot of money. They're a cheaper team, but Michael Wacha and Chris Archer, they have Kevin Cash, so he's a pretty smart manager, so he might be able to figure them out, but I don't know. They definitely, I think, got weaker. C+, not a great offseason. It was a very average, Next up, the Red Sox. Sneaky good offseason. Add Garrett Richards, add Enrique Hernandez, Franchi Cordero, Martin Perez, Adam Ottavino, Hunter Renfroe. Those are some good pickups. You get Richards in your starting rotation with Perez. If you get Sale and Rodriguez healthy, that's actually not a bad rotation. Richards, Rodriguez, Sale, Perez, and Eovaldi. That's not a bad rotation. You get Hernandez, who could be a decent second baseman. Hunter Renfroe, if he goes to his 2019 offense, that wouldn't be bad if he goes back to his 2019 form. Cordero, he's been a good outfielder. And then Ottavino, good bullpen arm. I think the Red Sox didn't have an awful offseason. Got a B for them. They did pretty good. I think that they were a above average off grade or off season, excuse me. But I don't think that they were amazing, but I do think it made them better. Next up, the Blue Jays. One of the best off seasons in baseball. You had George Springer, you had Marcus Semien, you had Kirby Yates, Tyler Chatwin, Steven Matz. That's a good addition. Springer, one of the best hitters in baseball, one of the best fielders. Semien, very good shortstop, very good hitter. Yates, a great bullpen arm. Chatwood's a decent, Chatwood and Matz are going to be 4 or 5 starters, and the Blue Jays need pitching. Not a bad offseason. I would have liked if they got a pitcher. That's why I'm not going to give them an A or A+. I gave them an A- because they got way better. They had an amazing bullpen and outfield pieces. But to get an A, they would have needed to get somebody like Bauer or Paxton. Technically, when I'm recording this video, Odorizzi is out. So if they do get Odorizzi, it is an A. But right now, it's A-. Next up, the New York Yankees, my least favorite team in baseball. Maybe besides the Astros. Maybe the Astros are my least favorite team. DJ LeMahieu, Corey Kluber, Darren O'Day, Justin Wilson, Jameson Taillon, Kyle Barraclough. Those aren't some bad pickups. Those are some good ones. You get LeMahieu, you needed LeMahieu back. I think everybody thought he was going back. Good pickup for them. Kluber and Taillon. There are some risks to that. Big risk for Kluber because you don't know how well he's going to do. O'Day and Wilson are good bullpen arms, and then Taillon, good starter. Barraclough, not a bad offseason for the Yankees. I gave them a B+. They didn't have a bad offseason. They didn't have an amazing offseason. They didn't have a great offseason. They didn't get any top guys. I mean, they did resign LeMahieu, but they didn't get a George Springer or something like that. And I don't think they would have anyway. But not a bad offseason for the Yankees. B+. Next up, the Cleveland Indians. They didn't have a good offseason. I mean, you get Rosario, Hernandez, Eddie Rosario, Ahmed Rosario, Cesar Hernandez, Andres Jimenez, Billy Hamilton, and Ben Gamel. I gave them a C+ because if they didn't lose Lindor and Carrasco, this actually is not a bad offseason, but they lost them, and basically the Indians were let's lose all of our offensive pieces, and then let's bring in a few backup okay offensive pieces. I mean, Eddie Rosario is good, but you lose Santana, and you lose Lindor, so now you have Jose Ramirez, Eddie Rosario, and Franmil Reyes. Those are the 3 bats in that lineup that I would say I am the most scared of. That lineup is not amazing. I mean, Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez are not bad, but Indians, C+. They lost Lindor. Next up, the Kansas City Royals. Mike Minor, not a bad pickup. Carlos Santana, not a bad pickup. Benintendi, not a bad pickup. Michael Taylor, Hanser Alberto, not bad pickups. The Royals are trying to, I'm trying to think of, they're trying to be a middle team, I feel which is a weird. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying not to be a bad team, but they're kind of waiting for their young prospects to become good. So what they're doing right now is they're trying to get players to basically just to make their team not completely bad, to make their team at least a little bit enjoyable to watch for fans to still enjoy. So they're not like the Pirates where they're completely just full rebuild like they were a few years ago. I think they're getting a few pieces to become better. Honestly, not a bad offseason, a B. They didn't have a bad offseason. I thought they did above average. They got better. Definitely a better team. Are they good? No. Their pitching is still very weak. But, that lineup, 1 through 6, 1 through 7 is pretty dang good. Royals overall grades a B. Next up, the Detroit Tigers. Robbie Grossman, Nomar Mazara, Jonathan Scope, Renato Nunez, Wilson Ramos. Those are some interesting pickups. Scope, Mazara, and Grossman are all going to be good hitters, I think. I think Grossman, good outfielder. Mazara, good outfielder. Scope, Nunez, Ramos, those are all kind of backups. Ramos is old. Mazara and Grossman are kind of, Mazara and Grossman are good outfielders, but overall grade B-, not above average. I would say definitely above average, but Tigers offseason was okay. They got better. Next up, my favorite team in baseball, the Minnesota Twins. My team I root for. They got Nelson Cruz. They signed Andrelton Simmons, Alex Colomé, Hansel Robles, J.A. Happ, and Matt Shoemaker. I don't want to go on a whole big rant here because I know some people are if Twins didn't have a good offseason. And I don't think that's true, not just because I'm a Twins fan, but also because, like, I think the reason why people say that is just because the White Sox signed Lance Lynn, and so they thought, oh, well, they got Lance Lynn, so that makes the Twins offseason be bad. I don't think that's true. I give them a B+. They really did not have a bad offseason. Yes, you lose May, but you get Colomé basically to fill in for him, which the only thing Colomé does that May doesn't is strike out people. But the thing that you got to get is, like, you have such a good defense behind Simmons and Buxton and Donaldson that, however, like, the White Sox, when Alex Colomé was with the White Sox aren't known for their defense. They don't have a good defense. Like, Tim Anderson at shortstop, not great defense. But if you get him behind Simmons and Buxton, he'd be such a good bullpen arm. You get Robles, you get Happ, Shoemaker, good, like, back-end pitchers. B+, I think the Twins had a decently good offseason. Next up, the White Sox, Lance Lynn, Liam Hendricks, Carlos Rodon, and Yoelqui Cespedes. B+. I think they had a good offseason. I do think they had a good offseason. I don't think they had as good as some people say they did. I mean, Lance Lynn's a great addition, and Liam Hendricks is good too. Like, those are great pickups, but I don't think they're better than the Twins right now. B+, though, Lance Lynn, Giolito in that rotation, that's a good 1-2 punch. Liam Hendricks in the bullpen, good closer. Rodon, going back to the rotation, and Yoelqui they got from international prospects. Just a good guy. I think they'll do good in their future. White Sox B+. Next up, the last division in baseball, starting off with the Angels in the AL West. They got Jose Iglesias, Raisel Iglesias, Jose Quintana, Kurt Suzuki, Dexter Fowler, and Alex Cobb. They got some guys, but they didn't get what they needed. They got Quintana and Cobb for your pitching, and you don't need those guys for your pitching. You need, like, I don't get why the Angels spend most of their money on positions and items that they don't need. You spend your money to get starting pitchers. That's what you should be doing, but the Angels just don't do that. Like I said, they could still sign Odorizzi because he's still out there. If he does, they have a better offseason. B-, like, it's above average. They did get better, but, like, the Angels need to sign pitchers, okay? Sign more pitchers, okay? Raisel Iglesias is not going to be your answer. Cobb and Quintana, they're not going to be your aces of that staff. Next up, the Trash Tros, or the Trash Can Bangers. I'm probably going to call them that for the rest of my life now. Thank you, Astros. I'm giving them a C. You sign Michael Brantley back, and then you get Steve Cishek, Pedro Baez, and Ryan Stanek as bullpen, and then Castro as your catcher. Like, you lose Springer, and that's the reason why you have a bad offseason, in my opinion. If you would have re-signed Springer, this isn't a bad offseason, but you lose Springer, offensive bat. Like, the Astros are on their way down right now. They built their cheating dynasty, and now they're kind of slowly going down. C for the Astros. Next up, the Oakland Athletics, one of my other kind of like teams I do like. Elvis Andrews, Mike Fiers, Adam Kolarek, Yusmeiro Petit, Sergio Romo, and Nick Turley. You know, you get some bullpen arms, I guess, which are okay. You know, Adam Kolarek, Yusmeiro Petit, Romo. Those are all guys that you can trust to be in your bullpen. You lose Semien, though, for Andrews, which is You get Fiers back, like, C-. This offseason was not good for the Athletics. It really wasn't. Because you lose Semien. They really didn't get better. Their pitching staff is what's good, and their offense right now is actually shaky. I thought, like 2 years ago, like, their offense was pretty dang good. You know, Chapman and Olsen and Semien and, you know, Laureano, but their offense was kind of weak. AL West is weak. Athletics C-. Next up, the Rangers. They get Chris Davis, they get Dane Dunny, Brock Holt, and Mike Folty-Nevich. I think Mike Folty-Nevich, and Dane Dunning are going to be good starting pitchers. I think those are some good moves for them. Holt and Davis are going to be good, like, hitters and fielders, so that's okay for them. But it's a D. Like the Rangers, you traded away Lance Lynn. You don't have Kluber anymore. Like, the Rangers aren't that good of a team anymore. I'm going to say they're one of the worst teams in baseball. If you would have said 2 years ago they were one of the worst teams, I would have not believed you, because they used to be actually a pretty good team. Going into the 2020 season, I thought they could have been a sneaky wildcard team. And they have just an awful team. Awful, like, farm system. They haven't gotten any prospects. D. Rangers, not a good offseason. And the last team in baseball, the Seattle Mariners, they had James Paxton and Kendall Graveman. Those are pretty much the only moves they made. I gave them a B, though, because they got better. They got Paxton, good starter, and I really think they actually got a good pitcher in James Paxton, and I thought they were a pretty good team overall. I mean, even though you didn't make the splashy moves, the Mariners don't need to. The Mariners are a weaker team. They don't need big moves. Honestly, if you just re-sign some of your, decent young guys, I think I'm going to give you at least a C, because I don't feel like giving a team an F if they're not in a position to win, which the Mariners are getting better, and they got Paxton. I think that's a sneaky good move, and I think the Mariners, it might sound crazy, but I think they have a chance in 2021 to make a wild card. It's possible. I think they are a 500 team right now. I think that they might be maybe third in the division right now. I think the Rangers and I don't know. The Angels and Athletics are pretty dang close, but you never know. Mariners are not that bad. That was my offseason grades. My division standing predictions are coming soon, so be on the lookout for that, because I'm having my division standings predictions coming pretty dang soon. So like I said, look out for that. I'm gonna do another slideshow. And thank you guys for watching. Do let me know down in the comments. Do you guys like these slideshows better? They do take a little bit more time to make, but just let me know if they are if they're good. Do you like them? Do you like the slideshows a lot better? I don't know what the sound quality on this is, so I hope it's not too bad. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. My offseason grades. I'll see you next video. Goodbye. Bye-bye.